Yo, what's happening guys? Welcome back to Tokimotive. First thing on the agenda for today, the 31, for some reason, that mid sort of point cruise level, it's getting audible detonation, which I did play with the timing map a little bit. I don't know if it should be causing that, so I'm gonna have a check in the ECU and see if it's thrown any codes for like CAS or something like that, work out if I'm having a timing issue or whether it is just the map. I've got my old tune that I haven't messed with. Take the timing map from it and put it on because I've done a bit more of the cold start tuning. Still not great, but I've done a bit more of it. And then see if that's gonna work. I also picked up smaller tires for the rear wheels that are on it because they don't really fit. And with how far I flared the guards on the right side to get them to fit, now it bottoms out and opens the door. Which is pretty funny in itself. But gonna chase why this thing's detonating. Check the ECU first, go with the easiest check first. I've already pulled the intake off the turbo because I know that is an old turbo, so I was a bit worried that maybe the seals had fully let go because I know they weep slightly when it's cold. But it doesn't look like that's the case. It looks still fine, so it shouldn't just be that it's spitting oil into it and making it detonate. I'm tossing up whether I'm going to do some work on the 13 or the 33 because I got heaps of work to do on both and I'm getting real motivated to work on both. I've actually got a little bit of update. I did have a bit of a play around with them the other weekend. The 13, it's got some stuff in it because I had a house inspection, but I've started piecing together the interior a bit, which is nice. Makes it sort of feel like a car. The dash is still a bit how you going. I've tried to Sikaflex the top there where it's broken, but I think I'll have to make up a little bracket for it. But it's starting to look a little bit better. 33's full of stuff too, but I just sort of chucked a few interior bits back on and it sort of looks more like a car again. It helps me a lot for motivation because, you know, when they're just shells sitting here, it's a little bit less motivating than when they look like actual cars. I should really stop buying shells that need tons of work and start buying actual cars that like run and drive, but you know, I never learn. So I'm going to unplug the fuel pump and then pull everything up and see whether there's any issues in the ECU. If I can't see anything, I'm just going to set the tune back, swap out the rear tires so I'm not scrubbing everywhere, and then take it for a test drive and see if it's still getting that detonation at that mid-cruise. Do have a previous code of trigger sync error, but it's passed. If that pops back up, then I know I'm looking at a CAS issue. Hopefully not. I'm going to take this opportunity to do a bit more of the cold start and after cranking tuning on it, because being that it's got a big cam, it's trickier. It's harder when you got a big cam that's demanding a lot of air and everything like that. Cold start's probably one of the harder parts of having a big cam. It just makes it trickier to tune and get it right. I'm sure there's people out there that know, boom, on the money, exactly what they need to put in for putting like a TX2 into an RB30, but I don't know off the top of my head, bang, done. So I'm gonna have to play around with it for a little bit more and get an idea of where it should be. I really want to work on the other cars right now, but at the same time, I've got two Matsuri style and an actual Matsuri drift events booked and paid for this car. So I've got the Internet Friends one, the private Matsuri at Rayleigh. That's not in 3 weeks away, that's like 2 weeks away. I've got to have this thing ready for. And then I've also got QR October Matsuri. I'm finally getting back to the QR Matsuris. It's been a while, I just haven't been financially able to do it. Yeah, so this thing's got to be dialed and ready. Come on. This little bad boy pop up. Trigger errors current 10. That's not good. I did just hit a trigger error and the trigger system error count doubled. Cool. Wonder if that was another error then. Yep. Engine position error. Again. Looks like I think I'm chasing a bit of a wiring issue right on top of that cars, which that's a pain. That's a pain because if I have to cut back and trim and repin and everything on that, I can't remember if I have the pins for that anymore. I also don't have a lot of wire length left there to tie on with, so I'm going to have a little bit of a look at that. Alright, save you the noise of it running. After I played with it those couple of times and had it cut out, it stopped doing it. No matter how much I play with this, it stopped. So I'm thinking it might just be a dirty connection, or one of these pins wasn't sitting in properly, so I'm going to pull that up, make sure all the pins are engaged properly, and just give it a good clean if there's any corrosion. Thinking that could be it. Might just be the way that they're clipped in or a dirty connection, because it has been going good for a while. And in saying that, the loom doesn't really move much there, so I'm going to give that a clean up and that should be sweet. On another note, after doing the double lock on the bottom of these coilovers, which you can see there, 2 lock collars going to the base height because they kept undoing. That side's been mint. This side hasn't undone at the bottom, but the newer max speeding rods, they don't actually have a lock nut. They just have like a regular nut with sort of barbs on the bottom that don't actually engage on that point at the bottom there properly. It all sort of sits on that inner run for the most part. So what I've done is a lock nut off the old coilover. It's not going to be ideal. I'm probably going to have to get brand new ones, brand new set for it, but yeah, I'll tighten that down. Any luck, nothing will come loose in the front end for a long time. Like, you know, not just like, oh, I drove it once or twice and now something feels loose. I want to be, you know, I do a bulk check every few months or something before a big event. Not, oh, look, I got to tighten something up again every other day. So that should be good. Never knew I could get this thing to pop flames free revving with the current tune, but apparently I can if I play with it a bit. So that's kind of fun. But and I think I've got the startup tune a hell of a lot better. I found a map conflicting with the idle control stuff, and that was dropping it down, making it hunt and drop right off. The real test will be when it's cool again and I try and start it up and see if it's actually sorted itself or not. I'll probably take it for a test drive and see if any of these trigger errors pop up after I give that plug a clean. Alright, everything's looking healthy. So as of right now, we have no errors whatsoever. Got the log happening. Everything seems to be running nice. Don't show out there. I've got to keep my privacy. So, let's go for a test drive. I forgot the GoPro, so you'll just see update. Well, after one very legal, perfectly calm drive, 0 trigger errors. Alright, cold start went a hell of a lot better tonight than it has for a long time. Still some fine tuning to do, and I've got to add a little bit more fuel back in to the warm-up table, but that's fine. It's doing a hell of a lot better than it was, so that's a win. Also, got my subs out, wheels loaded up. I've only got one set I need to fit, and I've got to swap the street tire wheels over. I'll put them onto here, and then I'll put these smaller tires onto my street wheels so that they fit. But I just reuse the strap that holds my sub in using 2 child anchor bolt points. Sturdy as, and they lock in the wheels at the back. Perfect. Who said drift cars aren't practical? They are when they're a wagon. But now I gotta get ready to go to bed so I can wake up to go to work, because Dart House Boys place isn't too far from where I'm working at the moment. So it's easier for me to take a straight shot from work to there, and then we can do some tuning and fit up some wheels, and should be mint. And hopefully this thing, I can get things nice and dialed with the driver and nice and out of town on some private roads that'll, you know, we can sort of let it loose a little bit and not have to worry about disturbing the peace, to say, and actually dial in the timing map, because that's something I can't do just off logs with no knock sensor. Was going to include the Dart House trip into this video, but there was a lot going on there, and I got a lot of fun, good content, hanging out with the boys, so that's going to be a separate video up real soon. Let's just say it was a blast, and if you like seeing shenanigans with friends, definitely watch the next video. Yeah, you'll have to wait to the next video to find out how everything went. I've got a nice big styling update for the Wagon, but you'll have to wait to see that. Got some handy downs. Super pumped right now. I just got approved to drive Bring the Ruckus 3. So that's the Team Kamikaze event down at Ray Lee. So now that's 3 drift events in 3 months. So, hopefully this thing stays together and I can keep everything dialed, sorted, keep on top of it. But it's going to be an epic 3 months for content, between getting this ready, between doing stuff to this and trying to make it better and better, working on the other cars, and lots of track time and hanging out with the boys, and just good fun. And I'm super keen, super excited. So anyways guys, if you enjoyed the video, leave a like. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate you as always, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.